So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women. You will be the one pleading for somebody, anybody, to do something. And then there is the tragic but very real possibility that in the worst case scenario, you just might be the one holding flowers at the funeral. You might be the one left to raise your children alone.
Emotional manipulation is when the coercer uses emotions such as love, loyalty, or sympathy to sway the other person, implying that their relationship or bond is dependent on casting a vote a certain way. For example, they may say, if you really love me, you'll vote for this candidate, making the vote a test of affection or loyalty. Let's see what this may look like.
Take a minute to help folks, especially the men in our lives, to get a better sense of what could happen if we keep dismantling parts of our reproductive care system piece by piece, as Trump intends to do. I want folks to understand the chilling effect, not just on critical abortion care, but on the entirety of women's health, all of it. There are good reasons why so many women and physicians are horrified by what's happened since Donald Trump's justices overturned Roe v. Wade. We're seeing women scrambling across state lines to get the care they need. Just this week, a major medical journal reported that after Roe was overturned, infant mortality in this country rose, in large part because women are being forced to carry fetuses that won't survive to term. One woman spent 22 days in jail on murder charges after she miscarried in her own bathroom. We are seeing doctors unsure if they can treat ectopic pregnancies. Doctors being told they can't treat a woman until she becomes so close to death that only a life of the mother exception will allow them to act. So just imagine the profound effects for all of us if Donald Trump wins this election. In states that are already putting abortion bans into effect, his FDA could further outlaw patchwork systems of telehealth appointments and mail-order pills, thereby eliminating the last remaining protections for women in those states. He could take actions that effectively ban abortion nationwide, which would put all of us in danger, no matter what state we live in. We will see more doctors hesitating or shying away from providing life-saving treatments because they are worried about being arrested. More medical students reconsidering even pursuing women's health at all. More OB/GYN clinics without enough doctors to meet demand, closing their doors, leaving untold numbers of women in communities throughout this country without a place to go for basic gynecological care, which in turn will leave millions of us at risk of undiagnosed medical issues like cervical and uterine cancers. This is real. So do you think Donald Trump is thinking about the consequences for the millions of women who will be living in medical deserts? Does anyone think he has the emotional maturity and foresight to come up with a plan to protect us? Yo, we are teetering on the edge. Even before these state bans, America was already lagging behind every other wealthy nation on measures like maternal mortality and paid leave. So we could be right back to the days before Roe, which many young people here don't even remember. The days when abortion wasn't as safe as it is today. The days when the number of mothers of color dying in childbirth was 30 to 40% higher than when it was under Roe. So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women, and how it will affect every single woman in your life. Your girlfriend could be the one in legal jeopardy if she needs a pill from out of state or overseas, or if she has to travel across state lines because the local clinic closed up. Your wife or mother could be the ones at higher risk of dying from undiagnosed cervical cancer because they have no access to regular gynecological care. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. And this will not just affect women, it will affect you and your sons. The devastating consequences of teen pregnancy won't just be borne by young girls, but also by the young men who are the fathers. They too will have their dreams of going to college. Their entire future is totally upended by an unwanted pregnancy. If you and your partner are expecting a child, you will be right by her side at the checkups, terrified if her blood pressure is too high, or if there's an issue with the placenta, or if the ultrasound shows that the embryo was implanted in the wrong place, and the doctors aren't sure that they can intervene to keep the woman you love safe. If your wife is shivering and bleeding on the operating room table during a routine delivery gone bad, her pressure dropping as she loses more and more blood, or some unforeseen infection spreads and her doctors aren't sure if they can act, you will be the one praying that it's not too late. You will be the one pleading for somebody, anybody, to do something. And then there is the tragic but very real possibility that in the worst case scenario, you just might be the one holding flowers at the funeral. You might be the one left to raise your children alone. See, these are just some of the ways women die during childbirth. And I don't want to be a downer, y'all. But in many cases, there is no warning, and things go bad very quickly. And when it happens, every second of hesitation or delay can lead to devastating outcomes. So I am asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. Please, do not put our lives in the hands of politicians, mostly men, who have no clue or do not care about what we as women are going through, who don't fully grasp the broad-reaching health implications that their misguided policies will have on our health outcomes. The only people who have standing to make these decisions are women with the advice of their doctors. We are the ones with the knowledge and experience to know what we need. So please, do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth.
There was a time when I believed that using my emotions could bring about the change I wanted. Some women say to their partners, if you really love me, you'll vote for Kamala Harris, making their vote and loyalty conditional upon political alignment. This form of manipulation doesn't just exploit emotions. It creates an unhealthy dynamic where love becomes transactional rather than unconditional. Emotional manipulation might seem effective initially, but it comes at a high cost. The person being manipulated may feel controlled and pressured, leading to resentment and mistrust. In the long run, this tactic weakens the emotional bond and erodes the foundation of the relationship. We have a tendency to mistake support for control, believing that if we can tug on someone's heartstrings, we can guide their choices. But is this really love if we use it to manipulate? Voting should be an expression of one's own convictions, not an obligation tied to someone else's feelings. This type of emotional manipulation can be incredibly damaging, as it puts pressure on the other person to make a decision based on their emotions rather than their own beliefs and values. Emotional manipulation can also be used to create a sense of guilt or shame in the other person. The coercer may say things like, if you don't vote this way, you'll be letting down your family or community, making the person feel responsible for the potential consequences of their vote. This can be especially harmful in situations where the person may already feel a strong sense of obligation or duty towards their loved ones, making it difficult for them to go against the manipulator's wishes. Have you ever used emotions to sway someone's decisions? Let's challenge ourselves to honor others' autonomy and recognize that true support means allowing those we love to make their own choices, free from manipulation. It is important to recognize and stand up against emotional manipulation in any aspect of life, including political decisions. Are you tired of seeing manipulation and coercing the vote instead of truth and integrity? It's time to take a stand. It's time to reclaim the power of choice and the freedom to vote based on your values, not out of fear, guilt, or pressure. If you're ready to activate your gift of discernment and build the courage to see through manipulation, I challenge you to join my 7-day Got Discernment challenge. In this challenge, we'll uncover the tactics used to control and coerce. And I'll equip you with the tools to confidently make decisions that align with your convictions, free from manipulation. But that's not all. Dive even deeper with my must-read resources, Discernment for Dummies and Deceivers, the guidebook. This book will guide you step by step through the process of identifying deception and empowering yourself to make informed, courageous choices in all areas of your life. So are you ready to break free from the chains of manipulation and become the discerning, empowered person you were meant to be? Click the link to join the challenge, grab your books, and start the journey today. Let's build a future where your voice is your own, your vote is your power, and your life is aligned with your truth.
Let's activate.